So we've spent a lot of time trying to understand how people in various environments judge their quality of life. So we have first of all been able to bring together quality of life indicators from different parts of the world, which tell us how those populations look at their future. So we start with the quality of life indicators and we measure where we are when we start. And then we put in a program, we measure its outcome, we correct. So for example, we're in Syria, we're in Afghanistan, we're in a lot of countries because we are permanently there. So the goal is to create a system which is responsive to people's own views, not what you think their views are.
Right. So we have time for one final question, and this is a broad one. We have many students in the audience. They're looking forward to making a difference in the world. That's a very distinctive feature of Brown. So you get to give them advice. And you know, what advice, seriously, would you give them about shaping their futures and their children's futures?
Difficult question.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would start by saying something very basic. First of all, what language do you speak? Do you speak one or do you speak several languages? If you speak several languages, your horizons are wider. You can function in a wider number of countries around the world. I think the second thing I would say is I would ask them to think about where they want to be when they're 35. What are the goals for their midterm? I think that's the second thing I would ask. The third thing I would ask is, do you want to be a global citizen or do you want to be a continental citizen? If you want to be a global citizen, then prepare yourself for that. It's a different set of goals. So I think the whole issue is a rational issue that well-educated children, young people, can address in a very, very rational way. And I think the final thing I would say is everybody makes mistakes. Never regret them, but correct them. But there's no such thing as a perfect world or a perfect life.
Very good advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. Thank you.
Yalimadat, welcome and bienvenue. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Friday Night Reflections. My name is Shakeel Bharmal, and it is a pleasure to have you here and welcome Jamati members, multi-faith family members from all over the country, and in fact, from all over the world. I'm here joining you from our capital city, Ottawa, and it is the middle of another stay-at-home order in Ontario. And while it's difficult, we are taking advantage of the time to spend together as a family, learn new recipes, play some games, and in fact take care of some spring cleaning as the weather improves. This is an exciting episode, but before we get into it, you know, one of the things I've really enjoyed about Friday Night Reflections as I've watched it is seeing all the different backgrounds for all the different hosts in their homes. And I've particularly enjoyed Zain Velji's backgrounds. And he always seems to have a story about his background. Well, I have a story, Zain, and I wanted to share it with all of you today. And the story centers around the wood carving that's behind me on my right. So about 20 years ago, I traveled back to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where I left when I was 3 years old in the early 70s. And I got a chance to go back to the apartment that my mom and her family grew up in. I went there and I had lunch with her old neighbor. And I got to visit the actual apartment where the tenants who took over from my nanima 30 years prior were still there. And as we visited and I got to look around, as we were leaving, they handed me this wood carving. And they said to me that my nanima left it behind when she left to come to Canada. You can imagine how I felt. I had this piece of family history in my hands. So I packed this wood carving in my backpack. It's pretty heavy. And I carried it for the rest of the trip. And I was so excited. In my mind, I played this story that I was going to go home and I was going to be a hero for my aunts and uncles bringing back this family heirloom. So I got back to Canada and I went to visit my mom, expecting tears of joy as I did the unveiling. My aunts and uncles came over and I finally took it out. They stared at it blankly, not quite the reaction I expected. And as they looked at it, they looked at me and they said, "What is this thing? We've never seen it before in our life." It turns out it wasn't really theirs. But I built up a great story and I really do like it, so I keep it in the corner and it reminds me of theirs. I guess those tenants just needed to get rid of it and I was a person that would carry it away for them. So anyway, but I have it here and it's in my background in my office. Well, it's so nice to be with you today, and let's get on with this episode. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with Alwiza Parinda Chagani. She talked about how that during these unusual times, it's very natural to feel a sense of loss and grief, and that's okay. And how we can lean into our faith as a source for hope and inspiration. Well, tonight we are going to talk about building strength in our Jamat, something that myself and all the other institutional leaders have been talking quite a bit about, and it's something that we are very passionate about. This is a very difficult time, not only in Canada but all over the world. We're living in a time of uncertainty, of volatility, of complexity and ambiguity, and it's natural and quite common during this time to be wondering about our future. What does the future have in store for us? It is a time that we might be thinking and exploring new opportunities, new careers, about thinking about the future path for ourselves and our family. Well, the Family Mentorship Program and the Future Ready Initiative provides a mechanism of seeking support, getting help from others, from other families, from professionals, to help us build a roadmap for ourselves and our family to make it through this time and actually not just survive, but thrive. So today we're going to start with an address from President Ismaili Kassim-Lakha from the Council of Canada. And he's going to share his thoughts, his insights, as well as the guidance from Maulana Hazrat Imam on how we can rely on our faith during this time to help each other build for a stronger future. And then we're going to watch some stories about how working together, there are examples of how the Jamat is getting stronger. And I'm very excited to be joined by Khairrunnissa Rhemtulla, who's the National Deputy for the Future Ready Initiative. And we're going to talk about the Family Mentorship Program. And she's going to bring us a couple of very real examples of situations that families find themselves in. And we're going to talk about how the Family Mentorship Program and the Future Ready Initiative can be leveraged to help these families. And then after we have that conversation, we're going to have another installment of our COVID conversation and talk about how we, the Jamat, can keep each other safe and healthy during this time. And then, of course, as we always do, we will have our wonderful musical expressions to round out the episode. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce President Ismaili Kassim-Lakha.
My dear brothers and sisters, Yale Madad. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce to the Jamat the Family Mentorship Program, which is one of the 4 pillars of the Future Ready Initiative. This is an initiative we have discussed previously, but tonight marks its official launch. Family Mentorship is a unique program to support the Jamat in developing and implementing a plan to improve the quality of life for their family and for future generations. Alhamdulillah, today, there are many members of the Jamaat who have reached a pinnacle of success in their profession or industry. But there are also members of the Jamaat who are at a crossroads, who are trying to chart a path in an uncertain future. The Family Mentorship Program works by pairing such groups of individuals together, one leading another, sharing guidance, wisdom, and best practice. Time and again, this approach has shown to be one of the most effective ways of advancement for families and communities. Its foundation rests on members of the Jamaat helping one another and engaging with external partners to further leverage supports for the Jamaat. As we launch the program, I would like to share with you that the Family Mentorship Program has been approved by Maulana Hazrat Imam for implementation in Jamaats around the world. It is one of his most important priorities. Let me share a few more details about the program. The pace of change in our world is accelerating, as we have discussed in several instances. Existing industries are being transformed in a manner that fundamentally changes the nature of work and skills required. At the same time, new and exciting opportunities are emerging. Through this change, it is understandable that members of the Jamaat can feel disoriented. There can be job losses, mental health impacts, or simply a loss of direction. For some of us, COVID has both accelerated these changes and added to the feeling of isolation. What can we as a community do to ensure that individuals and families are not left behind? How do we enhance the capacity and future strength of every family in our Jamaat? Every family is at a different starting point and has different needs. A family head can be a parent seeking to re-enter the workforce after taking time to look after children, a newly arrived immigrant trying to understand how to earn a better living in this country, or a financially vulnerable parent who is sincerely looking for a better life for the children and grandchildren. Each of these types of families has unique challenges and requires a tailored plan to achieve success. If not supported with a family plan, their financial and overall condition can deteriorate. Our beloved Hazrat Imam wants the Jamaat to step in and make sure that no family gets left behind. He wants families to be mentored, given good advice, and assisted to secure the future of their next generation. He does not want any family left at the margin without support or a good foundation. The Family Mentorship Program will pair these families with a mentor and provide professional support to develop goals, access financing, housing, employment, education, and healthcare as required. With access to these resources, families will, inshallah, not only access guidance for their careers, but also acquire insight into educational pathways for their children, so that their trajectory becomes positive and strong. The family plan will include upskilling and reskilling opportunities for job pathways that are aligned with the future, short programs to build resiliency, access to health supports including mental health services, access to quality early childhood development programs, access to post-secondary education, and overcoming other barriers to progress. Our ask of the Jamaat is as follows. If you or your family is going through a period of difficulty, where you are feeling particularly vulnerable or not sure about the path ahead, please come forward and consider participating in this program. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. A mentor will work with you to develop and implement a family plan. If you're a professional in the field of social services, case management, a regulated health professional, or a personal coach, we need your assistance for this program. You can sign up as a volunteer or apply for an employed position within the program. If you don't fit either of these categories, we still need your support. Family mentors are key to making this initiative successful, and we need you to think about how you can assist the Jamat. Both families and mentors should please sign up through II Canada, Access, or Mukhi Kamariyas. Members of the Jamat, mentorship is a cherished tradition of deep significance in our tariqah. The Family Mentorship Program is a community-based response rooted in our values of individual agency, dignity, and brotherhood. We are therefore seeking mentors to work with families with love, dignity, confidentiality, and in a spirit of partnership. Transforming others' lives is an incredible blessing, especially when there is potential for generational transformation. Our beloved Hazrat Imam said to us in Canada, "I would like this Jubilee year to become a year of transformation where all Murids worldwide will have an opportunity to develop their quality of lives in a way that has not been possible in earlier years." So, let us come together to achieve our beloved Hazrat Imam's vision of transformation in the quality of life of our Jamaat. Finally, on a related matter, I want to say to the Jamaat to please look out for announcements we are making on new opportunities. Through Digital Al-Akhbar, Instagram, Facebook, our Future of Work website, our economic newsletter, we are continually informing the Jamaat about opportunities such as careers with Microsoft and Capital One, training as Salesforce administrators, Google's new certifications in data analytics, UX design, Android development, IT support, and project management. These are excellent retooling and upskilling options. Please monitor our information platforms and take advantage of these options to pivot careers. Thank you and Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you, President Saib, for those usual inspiring and insightful remarks. You know, with those remarks, we now have a foundation and a framework from which we can talk about the Family Mentorship Program and Future Ready Initiative. You know, I've been reflecting on the time when my family and so many other families came to this country in the early 70s. We didn't have many resources, and we didn't even know how to access the resources that Canada had to offer. In many cases, we didn't have jobs, we didn't have skills, and we didn't know how to navigate. But in a few short years, with guidance from Maulana Hazrat Imam and support of each other, families helping families, Jamaat helping Jamaat, we were able to develop new skills, we were able to access education, we were able to improve our livelihoods and start businesses, and we built strength. Now, during those times, our needs were explicit, and we shared them, and so we were able to talk about them and help each other. And over time, we got stronger. But unfortunately, the progress has been a bit uneven. And in fact, there is disparity in our Jamaat today. There are many families that don't have access today to the quality of life that many others do have access to. And it's time that we have to change that. but these needs are not out in the open. In fact, in many cases, they're hidden and we don't see them. But we still have to work together to solve them. And so let's talk about how the Family Mentorship Program can play a role and how together we can work together to improve the life for everybody in the Jamat for a stronger, hopeful future. And so now let's watch this video, which provides an example of how Jamat can help Jamat with a real family that's been impacted. Thank you.
My journey started on a very sad note. I experienced the loss of a loved one. When my spouse passed on, life just changed. He was the breadwinner, so the immediate concern was, how do we survive? That was very difficult. I'll give a very clean example. When you have just a little bit of whatever you have at home to cook, there have been times where I haven't eaten because my kids matter. A mother can do that. And I have felt that. I have gone through that. And I don't understand why it all happened. Maybe I'm not supposed to, but those little feelings of having nothing, where to get it from, how to pay the bills that keep coming in, how do I pay my spouse's bills now, just the day-to-day, do I put gas in my car, do I buy grocery, do I pay school fees, do I do this? That constant struggle of confusion, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, it's mentally torturing. You're constantly in worry, and there is no, and the anxiety and the depression and all those things go up. So the poverty, being grief-stricken so suddenly was, we adapted to it. We made do with what we had, and when I did reach out, every type of help, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I received a lot of help in terms of just having someone to speak with, to unload and empty myself, and more so of a comfort, because it ties in with our culture and our belief, and an understanding it's more clear. I also was connected through them for outsource help. I am not shy at all to say that I have utilized the food bank. I have utilized services in the community to help me relocate from one residence to another. There have been times where I didn't know where the next meal was coming from. There's a lot of shame associated with that. People don't want people to know that they're going through a rough time, because the expectation is so, well, if you were to look at me, you wouldn't know my story unless I told you. That shame needs to stop. That fear needs to come to an end, and people need to really do what this team of members, Ismaili and non-Ismaili, are doing. We're human, it's life. And to know that you can go somewhere and be helped instead of being pushed away or being part of that group of despair or unknown, that doesn't help a person's situation. But the reassurance and the confidence that I get from all the different types of help out there, counseling, you underestimate and think that, why would I be chosen? I'm not well. And each of us has that. But I am not where I am without the help that I've received externally. I have experienced poverty, the grief, stages of grief, the anger, the despair, the shame, and your children watch you go through it. The council has also helped them with setting them up with mentors so they have an avenue to do many different things, whether it's help with their schoolwork, whether it's learning something that's to do with our tariqa, our prayers. Once the first year passed and we started to absorb that this is the reality of it all, and you need to live now, it's like teaching a baby how to walk, one step at a time, one day at a time. You can't cover it all, and you're not supposed to. This, in a strange way, has brought me very close to my children. Very close. They treat life even more precious than what they had. And so they have become my strength. And it's nice that within the family we can support each other that way. It comes. Everyone has to heal, and the healing's beginning now. The person that I reached out to wasted no time and acted and connected me right away, within the hour. And then it was a domino effect after that, because that person connected me to another person. So I received some help in the area of food, in the area of transport for my children, therapy and counseling for me, mentorships, Kushali, Eid, just gifts of everything, just to make us as a family feel that we matter. You matter, and we're so lucky to have that. And I want to be that voice for people to say you should reach out. In the future, if I ever have an issue, I feel confident enough that I have my home to go to. We're all one, and I think that if my story touches anybody, it should. It's there for everyone. You don't need to be special. I've also learned that the confidentiality, my dignity and my confidentiality has remained 100% clean. And when that happens, it allows the person who's going through their difficulty to be able to give trust more, and you build that strength up. And when that strength comes, you feel that you can give back to the community. No matter how broken you are, your faith restores you. It restores you. I was very angry at God about why me? Until it's like Mola found me. When I lost him, he found me. And through him finding me, my seva is now becoming more. I'm much more positive about my life, and I'm not giving up. Through all the broken pieces, somehow it's come together for me. Life is okay. I have a little, I journal. I still keep in touch with the mentors. I enjoy speaking with the elder people of the Jamat for wisdom. There's a lot of that there. The help that I have received from the council has been, those were the stepping stones so that I am where I am right now. Future-wise, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay because Mola is there, his people are there, and everybody needs to know that it's when issues happen, life happens to everybody, and that's okay. But to know that you can turn somewhere, especially within our community, it's the most... I won the lotto. I won the lotto with these people that helped me, you know, never judged. There's nothing that cannot be done for you. The help is there. Take it, reach out.
Mentorship and career guidance can also be beneficial for any segment of the Jamat. Here is a story of the impact mentorship can make.
Yali Madad. My name is Fayaz Tower, and I'm the Managing Director of Tasiko Hospitality and a co-founder of lightmedical.com. When I left my government job to join our family business over 23 years ago, naturally, my father not only became my boss, but also my principal mentor. Together, my parents laid a foundation which to this day facilitates growth and business success. Now, I'm not sure how good of a mentee I was to them, but they were relentless in their resolve, and I sit here today because of their efforts. Over the years, there have been other sources of mentorship in various forms in my life. Our participation in industry associations and alliances, engagement with industry partners and professionals have all afforded me many opportunities to interact with leaders in our industry. This has led me to different forms of mentorship, which have yielded innovative business improvements, the adoption of best practices, and most importantly, influenced our long-term strategic vision and particularly our succession planning. I also believe that volunteering opportunities in Jamati institutions, community organizations, and both for-profit and non-profit organizations provided access to individuals eager to share their experience and knowledge, resulting in great friendships along with longer-term mentoring opportunities. Most valuable to me today is how my mentors assist with refining my thought processes and providing feedback to help me identify blind spots based on their experience. This has greatly improved the potential for favorable outcomes and in some cases even resulted in collaborative opportunities which have proven to be tremendous accelerators for both my professional and personal growth. When I look back over the course of my journey, it's clear that opportunities to engage with mentors have been all around me in my daily life, but it was my responsibility to take advantage of them. That said, I think it's natural to feel some apprehension when seeking assistance from others, especially because it requires the admission of our own uncertainties and the sharing of information that we feel may be too sensitive or personal. Let me assure you that if we can find the courage to move outside of our comfort zone, it becomes evident almost immediately that the benefits greatly outweigh our perceived fears. I can say definitively that mentorship has played a key role in the growth and success of our companies and the overall happiness we enjoy today as a family.
It's truly incredible the impact we can make when we work together. Now I'm pleased to be joined by Khairrunnissa Rhemtulla from the Future Ready Initiative to have a conversation about how the services of Family Mentorship Program can make an incredible impact on our entire Jamat. Khairrunnissa, how are you today?
I'm well, enjoying the turn in weather, really loving the sun and the cherry blossoms that are coming out.
Oh, that's nice. And it is been a long week for you. How's your week been?
It has been a really busy week, a lot of meetings with colleagues and fellow volunteers, but I did manage to get some time with family and friends.
Oh, good, good. Khairrunnissa, you know, there's been so much conversation about Future Ready Initiative and family mentorship. I'm really excited to actually talk to you one-on-one. And I can imagine that the Future Ready Initiative is such a big part of your life. And so I really wanted to get a perspective from you. What is the Future Ready Initiative all about?
The Future Ready Initiative is a program that's really designed to support families who are looking ahead and planning for the future. There are 4 key components to the Future Ready initiative. The first is future work, which is really around supporting Jamati transition into emerging career pathways where there's potential opportunities for growth, there's opportunities for reskilling and upskilling. The second component is mental health, which is around deepening the Jamat's awareness and resiliency, and to support those who need professional help. The third is youth mentorship, which is really around supporting our young members of the Jamat to build academic and career plans through coaching and role modeling. The fourth component is the Family Mentorship Program. The Family Mentorship Program takes an integrated and holistic approach to supporting individuals and families in developing a plan for the future. It really integrates the different components of the Future Ready initiative, but it also encompasses both the institutional boards and portfolios and external resources and partnerships in supporting and developing that plan.
Okay, so it sounds like the way you describe it sounds like almost a single point of contact to help families improve the quality of their life, and having the resources from both externally as well as within the community, within the Jamat, bringing those resources to help family through a single point of relationship with the family. Is that right?
That's correct. We have navigators who have a professional background in areas such as social sciences or health sciences who work closely with the family to really understand what their needs are, but more importantly, their aspirations, and together develop a comprehensive family plan. The development of the plan will take a bit of time as the navigator will engage the family to get to the core of where they see themselves in 6 months, 2 years, or even generations to come. Each plan is unique to that individual and family. The plan is also iterative. So for example, a family may have many goals that they want to achieve, and so they may identify 2 or 3 goals to work on. Once they've achieved those goals, or perhaps there's been a change in their circumstance, they can connect with the navigator to update their plan. There's no defined time frame in completing a plan. It's really based on needs and current circumstances. It's really important to note that the Family Mentorship Program is about families making that decision to develop and work on the plan. They're really the drivers here.
And it sounds like it's built on the ethic of our faith, which is Jamat helping Jamat.
Yes, it's key to the program. We have Jamati volunteers across the country, from family navigators and coaches supporting the development plans. We have mentors who will guide and support families through that journey.
Mm-hmm. It's so important that the Jamat really understands what this is, how it works, and how they can participate. And I understand today you've brought a couple of case studies that we can watch, listen to, and then perhaps you and I can have a conversation after we watch this about how the Family Mentorship Program and the Future Ready initiative will support the family in the case study. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Wonderful. Let's watch that right now.
The Kassim family arrived in Canada 15 years ago and settled in Ottawa. They were blessed with a daughter and a son. Their daughter Yasmin was born soon after they arrived. Sadhu left school and became a cook at a restaurant. Taslim works at a salon, and together they bring home $45,000 per year. Yasmin is now in grade 10 and starting to think of college or university. Their son Aleem would like to participate in school and Jamati-based activities. Because they live paycheck to paycheck, Sadhu and Taslim are afraid their children won't be able to pursue further education. This also makes it difficult for the children to participate in extracurricular activities and plan for their future as their friends are already doing. Sadhu and Taslim would like to be prepared for a time when they are unable to work. Currently, they do not have any savings and would not be able to manage if one of them were unable to work. In some months, they have had to take out loans just to pay their rent and bills. The stress of their financial situation weighs heavily on them all the time. At times, Sadru is unable to sleep and feels all alone.
I can imagine there must be numbers of families going through something like that. So how does the Future Ready Initiative and the Family Mentorship Program to work to help a family like that?
In this situation, a family can approach the Future Ready Initiative through multiple ways. One can be through the access line, another could be through the Mukhi Kamras or Jamat institutions, or that themselves can directly go to the Future Ready Initiative site on II Canada and reach out themselves. They will get connected with a family navigator who will explore what has really brought them to the Family Mentorship Program. What are some of the key challenges that they're facing and what they'd like to focus on? For this particular family, some key potential areas that they might want to look at is their finances, the couple's employment career opportunities, support for their children, and some support around anxiety and stress. Given that they have reached out to the Family Mentorship Program, hopefully a first step in helping decrease their stress and anxiety occurs right from being connected with a family navigator, someone that they can work with and talk through what is happening. There are also a number of different programs that are available to assist with working through stress and anxiety, and that can be explored with the father. Given the financial stress, we would be connecting them to a financial coach and have a full assessment around their financial position and determine the best course of action. Has the family really tapped into all the potential benefits they may be eligible for? And if not, then we can certainly work with them to ensure that they're tapping into those resources. We'll also work with both the mother and the father around employment. What are their interests? Could we connect them with an expert coach who'll work with them to explore, what are opportunities of reskilling, upskilling? The father had been in school at one time. Is he still interested in that career path? And what are the opportunities around that? We'd also take an opportunity to look at the daughter's needs. So we know that she's in grade 10 and she's really starting to look at the future opportunities at university. We can actually connect the daughter to a mentor who can collaborate with her in developing an academic plan. In addition, there are camps such as the Global Encounters Camp that she could participate in. The same holds true for the young son. We would explore his interests and identify programs that he can participate in, perhaps link him with BUI if that hasn't happened already. There's so many different possibilities, but this gives you a gist of the types of goals and activities a family could work through.
So Khairrunnissa, as I hear you describe the way the program would rally around the family, one of the things that I'm curious about is this plan that is coming together. Whose plan is it? Is it the family's plan for what they want to achieve?
So the families really are the drivers of the plan, right from the moment that they connect with the navigator around their needs, priority, and how the plan will unfold. The family mentor will be there to support and guide as needed or expressed by the family.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine that some of the people watching this would wonder about the privacy. How do you ensure that the family's privacy is protected as they're being supported through this?
So privacy is an utmost importance for us. Information will be only shared with those individuals that are supporting the family and the family's plan. The family will be directly involved in the entire process, so they're aware of who we're sharing their information with. And if they ask us not to, then certainly we would have that dialogue and not share any confidential information.
Yeah. So it sounds like maintaining the dignity, the respect of the family is really important.
Absolutely. Information will only be shared with those that need to know information for their assessment and offer recommendation. The family will be really integral in the direction of the plan and how it unfolds.
Wow. Sounds like a amazing program, and I know how much thought has gone into it, and it's such important work. Khairrunnissa, you've also brought us another scenario, another type of situation. Why don't we watch that and hear what's happening in that story, and we'll come back and talk about that and then bring it all together for everybody.
Salim and Zara came to Canada in 1976, settled in Calgary, and operated a small grocery store until 3 years ago. Having worked all of their lives and putting their children through university, they decided to sell their store and retire. Recently, a friend told Salim about a development opportunity where he could triple his money. Salim took out a mortgage on their home, withdrew their retirement savings, and bought in. Sadly, the development went bankrupt. Salim feels that his children think they know better than him and are always meddling into his business. Salim and Zara haven't asked their children for help and have a mortgage payment once again. Salim believes that they have had a mortgage in the past and were able to pay it off and could do so again. The only difference is that now neither of them are working. They both feel it would be nice if they could have the financial freedom they envisioned for their retirement.
So Khairrunnissa, it sounds like that family, like so many of our parents, worked very hard for many years to create a future for their children, but now they're in a difficult spot. How would the Family Mentorship Program go about helping a couple like that?
So with this particular family, a key piece is going to be a financial coach to really best determine what their financial position is and offer some recommendations for a course of action. So there might be a number of different recommendations, anywhere from consolidating debt to exploring employment opportunities. It will be really important to have a plan that not only supports their current needs, but also looking forward to the future and ensuring that they have both the financial and social supports. This is a really stressful time. And during these types of situations, we often tend to isolate ourselves from our loved ones. So ensuring that they're supported along their journey is going to be critical in this process.
Wow, that's amazing. So it really is a holistic kind of support structure, looking after mental health, looking after their livelihood and their income, looking after strength of family. It's really quite comprehensive.
It's an integrated and holistic take on putting a plan and looking at your future and ensuring that you have those key toolkits and supports in place for success.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing such a great job explaining how that would work in those two situations. Of course, there are so many different variations on situations that people find themselves in. Khairrunnissa, we've looked at two situations where the families are in a difficult position. Is it necessary that a family is in a difficult position before they engage with the Future Ready initiative? Is it available to others as well?
Individuals and families do not have to be in a difficult position. If someone is wanting to make a change, be it career or otherwise, they can definitely access the Future Ready initiative. Having that professional to work with and think through around the future is truly available for anyone seeking that support and that advice.
Amazing. So you've done a really good job explaining how families, individuals can participate in the program to get the support they need to strengthen their life now, their quality of life, but also that for future generations. What if somebody wants to get involved as a volunteer? And I understand you're also looking for staff positions to support the program. How would somebody get involved, and what are some of the roles that you're looking for?
So I'm glad you asked that question. We're truly a volunteer-based institution structure. This is what we do. It's Jamat helping Jamat. So we do have a number of different roles that support the Future Ready initiative. One critical role is the family mentor, where you're really looking for individuals that love to support, guide, mentor families and individuals. We have family navigators who are professionals in the field of social services and health services, or even outreach programs that'll work with individuals around developing that plan and navigating the different systems. And then we have future of work coaches, which will work with individuals looking at different career paths and opportunities. As you mentioned, we do have some staff roles. So currently we're recruiting case managers and future work coaches. So all of these opportunities are posted on our Future Ready site on IA Canada.
So we have employment opportunities for professionals in this sphere of supporting people with these coaching and professional experience in this regard. From a volunteer perspective, you're also looking for professionals, but it sounds like you're basically looking for a lot of mentors, support people to participate. And when I think of that, that makes me feel like it's an opportunity for everybody in the Jamat, because what are the characteristics of being a mentor and supporting people? Empathy, not being judgmental, being curious and wanting to learn new things. And I know that our Jamat is full of people with those characteristics and traits. And it sounds like the Future Ready initiative is a wonderful place for those members of the Jamat to volunteer and grow and learn themselves.
Absolutely. We're so excited for individuals to come forward. And yes, in some cases we've identified key skills, but really if you want to volunteer, we're there. Give us a call and we'd be happy to talk about where your interests lie and how we can support you in coming on board and joining the Future Ready initiative.
Wonderful. Khairrunnissa, I know you yourself are a volunteer and have been for many years. Thank you very much for your seva and what you're doing. It's such important work, and it's just so much fun to watch the joy you experience as you support our Jamat today and for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great conversation with Khairrunnissa. And as she mentioned, the Future Ready initiative and the Family Mentorship Program is accessible and available for any member of the Jamat. And to learn more and to perhaps participate as a family mentor, please go to II Canada and look for the Future Ready initiative. We will now have another entry of our COVID conversations, where we'll talk about how we can do practical things to stay safe, stay aware, and stay healthy during this time.
Ya Ali Madad. I'm Hamida Megani, a fellow Ismaili and a public health trained physician currently leading a local COVID-19 public health response and vaccine rollout in Ontario. As we progress through this third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in Canada, it's important that we strengthen our individual and community actions to prevent the spread of the virus. More importantly, with variants of concern becoming the dominant strains of virus circulating in our communities, we know that transmission is much higher, and we are seeing a faster acceleration of cases than with the first two waves of the pandemic. In fact, we should consider this third wave as a new pandemic that could have more devastating effects on our healthcare system and on younger people. While there is much hope with the rollout of vaccines, this is not what is going to flatten the curve of the third wave. Now is not the time to let your guard down. I urge the Jamat to reduce close contact with others by staying home as much as possible, maintaining at least 6 feet from others, and wearing a mask when you are in the presence of people outside your household. It is vital that as soon as you are eligible, you make every effort to receive a COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine that is offered to you first is the best vaccine to protect you, your family, and our community from COVID-19. I know that many people have become anxious about which vaccine to take. All the vaccines approved by Health Canada are safe and very effective at preventing severe illness and death. While there have been reports of a rare blood clot side effect with certain vaccines, it is important to note that these are extremely rare events, similar to your chances of getting hit by lightning. But the chances of getting sick and dying from COVID-19 are far higher. While we wait for the Canadian National Advisory Committee on Immunization to review the latest data, AstraZeneca vaccine is available to those aged 55 and older. My own parents received this vaccine last weekend, along with tens of thousands of other Canadians and millions worldwide. I encourage all members of the Jamat to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Thank you, and Yali Madad.
Hi everyone, my name is Zain Shagwa. I'm an infectious disease physician and an associate professor at McMaster University. I studied pandemic planning on the Yukon Health Board for Ontario. I wanted to give people a little bit of discussion about what's going on with COVID-19 today. The good news is looking at places like the United Kingdom and Israel where vaccines have gone in heavily, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. People's lives are being saved by vaccine and people are starting to return to go back to normal. But we aren't there yet. There is a healthcare crisis occurring across the province. Many people in Ontario ending up in ICUs, ICU capacity being stretched beyond the limits of what it's been stretched to in the past. And we're seeing young people, particularly individuals that work in high-risk workplaces that are being infected and their families. The next 2 weeks are critical, and unfortunately people are being shipped hundreds of kilometers away to get care. And some difficult decisions may come if the healthcare system is overloaded. For all of you out there, please try to minimize the number of contacts you have. Only go out of the house if you have to for work, for essential groceries, for medical appointments, and to pick up medicines. Go outdoors with your family and enjoy the outdoors, but be careful out there and again, physically distance as much as possible. And for those of you who are offered a vaccine, please take it. There is no bad vaccine. All of them on the market will significantly reduce your risk of hospitalization within 14 days of taking the vaccine. And knowing that hospital beds are so precious, please consider taking the vaccine. If you're not eligible yet and know someone who is, reach out to them, answer their questions, point them in the right direction, and help them get their vaccine. And hopefully, as more people get vaccinated, we can all go back to normal after this last wave.
The VOCs that are circulating now, or the variants of concern, are largely responsible for the third wave here in Canada. These VOCs are not forgiving. And they are not forgiving in the sense that they are much more transmissible. So previously, when we used to see a breach in masking or hand hygiene or physical distancing, here and there, it didn't used to matter as much. Because these variants are so much more transmissible, it is very important for all of us and all of our Jamat to ensure that we adhere to all public health measures and continue to practice the bundled approach. That is, wearing a properly fitting 3-layered mask, practicing physical distancing of 2 meters or 6 feet from people who don't live with us in our households, and hand hygiene. It is also important to get the first vaccine available to us. In provinces where there is no stay-at-home order just yet, it is still important for us to stay at home as much as possible. Go out for exercise, go out for essential purposes. If physical distancing can't be maintained, wear a mask. But make sure that you look after yourselves. There is increasing confidence at this time that these vaccines that are available here in Canada are highly effective against the variants. There is real-world lived experience of AstraZeneca vaccine, of Pfizer vaccine, of the Moderna vaccine, and of Johnson & Johnson vaccine, especially around the variant that was first identified in UK, or the B.1.1.7 variant. We are heading into some dark times, but the light at the end of the tunnel is much brighter at this time. In the past week, we had 7 active cases in the entire province of Ontario in long-term care. This shows you the power of vaccines. We will get through this, inshallah. We just have to hold on a little bit longer.
And now, as always, we'll end with some musical expression to feed our soul and to inspire us for a wonderful weekend and week ahead. Enjoy. Thank you for joining us for another week of Friday Night Reflections.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. अल्लाह की बैयत होती है, रसूलुल्लाह के हाथ पर अल्लाह की बैयत होती है। मौला अली के हाथ से रसूल की